All right, what's good? What's good? I'm back. Paul Pickett, Promo Palace LLC. Let me get a sip of this orange juice. Y'all hit that click now, subscribe button in that right hand corner. This right now is going to be called Vlog 27. We're going to call this one Indies versus Majors. Vlog 27, Indies versus Majors. Don't forget the audio version of my vlog also goes to my podcast, Paul Pickett Podcast. And that's on Spotify, Apple, Deezer, Amazon, Slacker, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. You can Google Paul Pickett Podcast. All right, Vlog 27, Indies versus Majors. A lot of artists, they all, have this goal of typically signing with a major label and this, that, and the third. This is the thing you got to understand when you're signing with an indie versus a major. I look at majors more as ownership and indies more as partnership. First of all, major labels, maybe in the 90s, but not nowadays. In the 90s, major labels signed artists based on talent. Because all the artists they signed in the 90s didn't have a lot of fans before they signed them. Nowadays, that's not the case. Nowadays, major labels are not typically trying to sign artists who have no fans in place already. They're not. And even if a major label signs an artist who has no fan base and they give you an advance, they're not going to do any work for you until you reach a certain fan base status, till you reach a certain amount of fans. They're not going to do any work for you whatsoever. So, and when you sign with a major label, right, or you sign any deal with somebody, right, and you bring $0 to the table, and they bring all the money to the table, that is ownership on their behalf. Not just because you bring music to the table doesn't mean that you're bringing anything of value. If it's not an instant hit, and every artist thinks they have an instant hit, but I'm here to tell you they don't. Because if they did, then they'd have hits. They don't. Every artist thinks every song they make is a hit, and it's not. Unless you have an instant hit, it doesn't really make sense for anybody to put a lot of money behind you just yet, because they don't know what they got. They don't know what you can be until you build fan base. So unless you bring in a lot of fans to the table, an instant hit, or money to the table, it's ownership on the major labels' behalf every time. You haven't brought anything of value to the table. That's how business works. If you want it to be a partnership, then you have to invest money into yourself as well. If the label gives you $50,000, then you better be putting up $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 of your own. If not, it's not no partnership. It's ownership. Partnership is I invest 60%, you invest 40%, or I invest 70-30, or I invest 100% and then you buy in. But you're not buying in with a song that has no value yet when you have no fan base. Now, independent labels, typically when they sign artists, they have to help them build. Because they're not major artists yet. They're not even major independent artists yet. Usually an independent label will get behind somebody because they believe in the music and the vision. And they believe in everything about it. Labels don't care about your vision. Labels don't care about belief. Major labels don't care about your vision. Major labels don't care. Like, all they care is what's the bottom line? How many fans do you have? They don't care about, is your vision for your music. They don't care about your musical freedom. They don't care about your moralities and your music. They want to know, do you got fans and can we make money and sell records and sell tickets to shows and sell merchandise? And any business person should see that's the problem with the music business. Y'all keep throwing this talent thing. No, this isn't the talent business. This is the entertainment business. I repeat, the music business is not the talent business. It is the entertainment business. It is just a subgenre and a subset for a larger business, which is called the entertainment business. It's not. It's not like people try to compare music to a painting. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Because just because somebody makes music doesn't mean that they can sell albums for $1 million, or they can sell an album for $1 million. Yeah, Wu-Tang did it, but really, let's be realistic. You buy an album from Wu-Tang for $1 million, it's not even worth 100. I don't care if it is the only copy of that album. In this day and age, that Wu-Tang album has no real value. So what if it's the only one? Is it a great album? No. You paid $1 million for an album that's not even great. If I'm gonna pay $1 million, it's gotta be like the only copy of a Michael Jackson album or a Prince album, or the only copy of a it's gotta be somebody big. Like Drake drops only one album and one copy. If it's not somebody that's like at the top of stature, like the only copy of like a Beatles album, like the only one copy of a Beatles album, and that's out there, or yeah, like Prince, but like past that, like what are we talking about here? Like people put monetary value on music just cause, and it doesn't really have that monetary value. Yeah, Nipsey Hussle sold albums for $100 a pop, but how many did he sell? Yeah, he sold a decent amount to his loyal fan base, and that's what it's really all about, to his loyal fan base. But anybody outside of that wasn't going to spend $100 on a Nipsey Hussle album. I wouldn't spend $100 on nobody's album whatsoever, especially nowadays what the music put out. But I'm getting a little bit off track. Indies versus majors. Majors don't care about your vision, your dreams, your musical freedom, how great the music is. They solely typically care about how many fans do you have when you come to the table. How many consumers already consuming your music? If you come to the table with 0 consumers, you coming to the table with nothing, nada, zilch. I'm going to say it over and over and over again. If you come to the table with 0 fans, or let's throw in 0 money. You brought nada to the table, nothing. Unless you got an instant hit. And I can tell you 9 times out of 10, nobody's bringing an instant hit. I've only seen one artist recently bring an instant hit to the table with no money and no fans, and they put a ton of money behind them, and it's worked, it's panned out. But that's because he brought an instant hit to the table. And that instant hit was pretty old. And that's Moray. Moray brought an instant hit to the table. But let's be realistic. Most artists nowadays coming up aren't Moray. They're not as talented as Moray. They're below average or average. Like Moray's song Quicksand. Once I instantly heard it, I said, this is an instant hit. An instant hit. And it is very rare that you listen to songs from artists and you say, wow, this is an instant hit. It's very rare. It's a small portion. This idea that everybody can make great music is bogus. There's levels to this shit. Everything has levels to this shit. The NBA has levels. First team All NBA. Second team All NBA ain't as good as first. Third ain't as good as second or first. And then everybody that doesn't make first, second, or third on an NBA team aren't as good as all the people that made first, second, or third. There's levels. And the same thing in the music business. You know, you got Coles and Kendricks and Drakes. Those cats are at the top of hip hop. Those are the top rappers. As good, as hot as Little Baby is right now, the baby, they would never be perceived the same way as a Drake, a Cole, or a Kendrick. Because they're, first of all, one thing that those three cats have in common, they're not the shoot 'em up, bang, bang, I sell drugs, I'm hardcore gangster rapper. They're the complete opposite of that. And always artists that are complete opposite of that stand a better chance of being on the top of the music scale in hip hop because everybody can't relate to gang banging. Everybody can't relate to selling drugs. Everybody can't relate to just fuck bitches, get money. There's more to life than those three things that's all you rappers can rap about. It's the same three things over and over again. Those kind of rappers will never be at like the super top of the game. Kendrick Lamar is still the best rapper in the game and ain't dropped the album for I don't know how long. Kendrick Lamar drops tomorrow. Ain't nobody thinking of no damn Little Baby or the baby. And I ain't say damn the baby because I did promo for him, but the Little Baby. I mean, you know, and I ain't saying these guys ain't got some talented at all. I'm just saying the kind of music they make doesn't last for a decade. Little Baby, we ain't gonna be talking about Little Baby 5 years from now. I guarantee it. We'll be talking about the baby a little bit, probably 5 years from now, more than the Little Baby. You know, so yeah, man. Indies, when indies sign you, they're gonna help you put more work in. And the indies ain't gonna have as much money as majors. So it's a process. And even if you sign with a major and you don't got fans yet, it's a process. You know, so this is how I feel. If you're an artist that doesn't have a lot of money, take as much money as you can afford and pick a platform like YouTube and start advertising your YouTube channel and start pumping out content. And I don't mean just drop a music video every 3 or 4 months. And that's another thing, y'all artists, a lot of y'all don't pump out enough content. The only content you pumping out is a song or in a music video to go with it. What about all the other content in between? All the visual content in between. The reality day-to-day life visual content. If you want to build a brand and be an influencer online, you have to open your life up to the world. You got to open yourself up to the world, you know? So it always, to me, makes more sense to even sign with independents labels over majors. And it makes more sense to just stay independent if you can. Build your fan base off of whatever budget you could afford. Whatever you can afford month to month on your ads, put that into it. Build your channel, pump out content, you know, and don't get caught up in this. If you sitting there telling yourself, you know, I'm trying to go hard for a year or just 365 days, all you're telling yourself is you're never gonna make it. Because nobody's just making it in like 365 days. I mean, even Murray, he's got 300,000 subscribers, but he's still got a long ways to go to cats who got 1 million or more. He's only 33% of the way to 1 million, you know, so he's still got work to do. And a lot of work to do at that. It ain't like the whole world knows who Murray is. He's not known, like his face isn't out there for the masses. People know. People know. There's enough people that knows, but there's still a lot more that don't. You know, so there's still always work to be done. So this idea that I'm gonna make it I'm gonna go hard for 365 days. First of all, it takes at least 9 months to break a record nowadays. So what are we talking about here? It takes 9 months, but you're gonna make it 12. It takes 9 months to break a record nowadays, but you're gonna totally make it 12. That is not even reality, man. That's you gotta have like reasonable expectations in the music business. And I could tell you 9 times out of 10, most of these musicians don't have no reasonable expectations going in. When you bringing no money to the table and no fans to the table, and you ain't even got an instant hit. And and then you sign these people sign with the majors, and then they always blame the majors. You brought no money to the table, no instant hit, and no fan base, but it's the majors' fault. No, it's your fault. Because you basically just put your whole goals and dreams and vision and under control in the hands of the majors. When you bring nothing to the table, I mean, come on. And then they give you an advance, and if you don't bring fan base to the table after that, you don't get 2, 3, 4, 5 more advances. Like, you get that first advance to show that you're incompetent enough to take that advance and build fan base off of it. Because the label ain't gonna hold your hand for you. And guess what? They can't hold your hand for you, because you know why? Labels ain't breaking new artists anyways. Major labels don't break new artists. They don't. Major labels don't break new artists. They don't. Because all they know is street team and radio. Major labels don't got the power to break artists online. The artists have got the power to break themselves. Artists know more about breaking artists nowadays than major labels. Trust me on that. Almost every person who owns an online music promotion company was an artist or a producer at one point. Trust me. They were artists or producer at one point. Artists know more about breaking artists than major labels do. They do, because major labels don't really want to put the time into breaking you. They want you to break themselves. I repeat, major labels don't really want to put the time into breaking you. They want you to break themselves. Independents now, they'll put time in, because independents have no choice. Because the independent doesn't solely invest in you, typically just based off of your fan base. Because typically when independent labels sign artists, they don't have a lot of fans. And they typically tour with the independent label to build that fan base up. The same way that a majors, if somebody signs a major artist or signs an artist to a major label that has no fan base, they have to put him on tour. Like they do with J. Cole's Dreamville artists. And even that doesn't necessarily get you to a point where you can headline your own tour. Most of these guys aren't big enough to headline their own tour. They're not. Most of the guys on J. Cole's label, they all got to tour together, or they have to tour with other artists. They're not big enough to headline a tour. They're not selling out arenas. Typically, until you're selling out, you're either selling out all the clubs or selling out arenas. You're not typically headlining a tour unless you've been in the game for so long. You know what I'm saying? And even then, like, what are we really talking about here? Because there's still levels to the tours. You got coliseums and arenas, and you got some people, you got only selling out clubs, and some people can't even sell out clubs. They can't even sell out 200 in a club, There's levels to this, and you got to have a certain amount of fan base, and you got to stay relevant with your fan base. So major labels prefer artists to break themselves. Independents are signing artists that they believe they can help break, or that they believe in across the board. They believe in their image, their brand, their visions, their music, everything. Major labels don't care about all that extra stuff. They care about consumer base, fan base. It's very rare that major labels care about anything past how many records can you sell. That's like Jimmy Iovine, and that's it really. That he's like the only one that truly like cares about your greatness and not messing with it. Because major labels, I don't care how what you did to get to a, even if you have fan base and you whatever you did to get to that certain point of fan base, major labels will disrupt that in a minute if they can. They'll disrupt that in a minute if they can. And if there's one thing you should never do as a artist who has fan base is never disrupt your fan base. When you got fan base and you got a certain amount of fan base that you're making a living off of as a musician, you're not making music for the non-fans anymore. You're making music only for the fans that help you make a living. I repeat, once you start making a living off of your music, like paying all your bills, all your rent, you're not making music for not even yourself. You're not making music for yourself anymore. Because if you think you are, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're an idiot. Because yourself isn't paying the bills. You can't just buy your own music over and over again and pay your bills. The consumers. So when you have a certain amount of consumers that are paying all your bills, you make music for your consumer base, your fan base. Once you start going out of you start alienating them and going out of the realms of what they typically like and want to hear from you, you can't expect to just keep them. You have to make music for your consumer base. And now when you're trying to build fan base, you're making music for anybody that'll like it. You're making music for anybody that will like your music. But once you get to a certain point where you got a certain amount of fans that pay your bills, all your bills, those are the people you're making music for. You're not making it for the non-fans or for yourself. And the thing is, if you're making music for yourself, that's a hobby. Now we're talking about a hobby here. Once you start trying to make money off of your music, you ain't making music for yourself. And if you think you are, you're stupid. You're stupid because you're not going to keep your consumers that way by saying, I'm just going to make what I like. No, you don't make what you like. You make what the fans like. That's another problem I have with musicians. Take it from me. I have a catalog of music, but I have enough sense to know that until my music generates a certain amount of revenue, it has no real value. Until I have a certain amount of fan base that is willing to consume my music and sprint to the door to go do it, it has no value. It doesn't have the value that I think it does. And if I'm making music just for myself, then I can't get mad when people don't like my music. Because you're supposed to make music for people to appreciate and like your music, enjoy your music, be entertained by your music. Not to be talented by your music, because it's not the talent business. Once again, we're not in the talent business. We're in the entertainment business. We're in the entertainment business. There's plenty of not artists that I feel that's not talented, that's entertaining to plenty of people. There's plenty of actors that I feel is not very talented, that's very entertaining to plenty of people. Because we're all not entertained by the same things, first of all. That's what you got to take into account. That different people like different things, that everybody doesn't like everything, you know. So, yeah, indies versus majors, man, it's like, it makes more sense to stay independent. Like, once you sign with the majors and you start complaining, it's like I hear artists sign with majors like, they own my masters. Well, you put up $0. You shouldn't own nothing. In a business world, when you put up $0, you own nothing. You own nothing. If somebody's giving you a percentage, they're giving you charity. They're giving you charity, man. But damn, how much charity do you want? A label puts up $1 million, you put up 0, and you're like, they're jerking me. I'm not making my fair share. That's because you didn't put up your fair share. You put up zero. Technically, you should be getting back zero. Because your music didn't have no value when you brought it to the table if you didn't have any fans. Or you didn't bring money behind it. You didn't bring your own marketing dollars. If I paid for all the marketing promotions, yeah, you're getting a very small percentage. Because if I paid for all this marketing promotions, I paid for everything. I probably paid for the studio time, the music video, and everything. Like, you artists gotta wake up and smell the Folgers, man. Y'all live in this fairy tale, imaginary, made up, make believe world where you invest $0 and you're supposed to just get the bigger percentage. You're supposed to get the ownership of, you should own your masters, you should own this, own that, just because you made the music. No. That's just one part of the music business. Making music, and any old jackass can make music. But any and everybody can't promote music and market music and brand an artist and build an artist up till he gets a certain amount of fan base. And most artists they're not willing to take the time. They're not willing to invest their own money. So guess what? If you're not willing to invest the time and the money into your goal and your vision, guess what? It ain't your goal and your vision anymore. It's a goal and vision owned by somebody else. And I think on Iron Man 1 said it best. You think just because you have an idea that you own it? No. You think just because you have an idea of how to make a song that you own it? No, you don't. Nobody owns ideas. You know who owns the idea? The person who goes through with the idea. The person who follows through with the idea is who owns the idea. So if you ain't following through promoting your own music and building your own fan base, why do you think you should have the most ownership? You don't got no ownership. You just have a small percentage. To be honest with you, if you're not putting any money into the marketing and advertising dollars, you shouldn't have no say-so over the marketing and advertising. If I'm paying for your recordings, I should be the one to tell you if this song is a go or not. You should have no say-so if I say this song is a go or not. If I'm paying for all the studio recordings, your marketing and advertising, you ain't got, as far as I'm concerned, you should have no say-so. You should just follow my lead. Because that's all you are, is a follower following somebody's lead. When you let somebody invest all the money and time into your goals and your vision. That's why they call it your goals and vision. There's nowhere else in the business world where somebody invests all the money and you think you should own everything. No. You get what you get. You get what they give you. If you put no money to the table and you brought no consumers to the table. If you have not brought money or consumers to the table, you brought nothing. Zero. Zilch. Nada. So, yeah, even if you go with an indie, I mean, some indies are going to want you to probably bring things to the table. And this idea that, you sign with a major that, you're not get paid enough or they don't own your masters. Well, maybe you should have invested more money into yourself and not expect somebody to invest all the money for you. I mean, like, that's that's a weak mindset to have. That is a very weak mindset to have. I'm not sitting there. I've never relied on nobody to solely invest in my goals and dreams for me. If you want to throw in for a percentage, hey, that's fine. I'm cool with that. And yes, I give a person some say so. Some say so if they invest a percentage. Unless you invest half 50%, you don't get 50% of the say. So anything less than 50%, that's your say. If that's how much money you invested. If you invested 0% into this, $0, that's what the say you should get. If this idea that an artist should have musical freedom when he hasn't even put the money up, $0 up, is bogus. No, you should have no musical freedom. Yeah, you should have people telling you what to do. Because apparently you need people to tell you what to do if you can't if you ain't got your own money to invest. You don't even know what to do if you ain't got your own money to invest. You don't even know what to do because you ain't even got your own money to invest. I have my own money to invest and I do everything myself. I market, advertise my brand myself, and I invest my own money. And that's how it works when you have a goal and a dream and a vision in life that you're trying to achieve. This idea that you start crying, bitching, and complaining when you ain't put $0 in it, brought no consumers, and ain't even brought an instant hit is, come on, man. It's fairy tale. It's not even reality, man. That's not how it works in the business world. And another thing is a lot of people y'all don't even act like the music business is a business. Y'all don't even think it's a business. A lot of y'all think it's not a business. Y'all think it's a charity event. It's a talent search, just like American Idol talent search. I don't think if you ever notice, none of those people on American Idol ever pan out. I don't see none of these people with hit records and albums afterwards. Maybe Fantasia, but even where's she at? Where's Fantasia at now? This idea that these just because they're talented they were gonna make it. That's a joke. We're not in the talent business. We're in the entertainment business. Do I got to get a shirt made up? We're not in the talent business. We're the entertainment business. The music business solely came about to put music in the movies, which is a subgenre. What is the movie business? Entertainment. It's not the art business. It's not the talent business. Neither is the music business. The art business is the art business. The music business is not the art business. You know, this idea that musicians are so artistic. No! Poetry is not art. It's literature. It's not. It's not visual. It's audio. Music is not like, without a music video, it's not a visual thing. It's an audio thing, So yeah, y'all gotta get out y'all's mindsets, man. Y'all gotta be more realistic about your expectations when you're not bringing anything to the table, and you gotta be realistic about your expectations when you do bring something to the table. Because once again, this idea that you're supposed to make it just because you're talented is bogus. Do you got a good personality? What's your image look like? What's your music content like? Are you entertaining? Do you entertain us? I see plenty boring musicians that have no personality whatsoever. I've been to plenty shows and seen musicians that can't perform for squat. I don't call that very artistic if you can't perform for squat. So yeah. Majors versus indies. Majors only care about consumers and fans. Indies care about a lot more, usually. Usually indies are going to sign artists that fit with the indie label too. Like if you look at all the artists signed the Tech Nine's label, they all fit. They don't sign artists that don't fit. Because you can't put these artists that don't fit on tour and expect to build fan base. Same thing with Dreamville artists. Dreamville artists fit with Cole. Because when you put them on tour, they're able to extract some of his fans. If you put an artist that's nothing like Cole on Cole's tour, it doesn't work. You can't, it's like I always say, you can't put a Chief Keef artist open up for a Raekwon show, and you can't have a Raekwon type artist open up for Chief Keef show. It doesn't work. That's when direct marketing comes into a play. That's the only time direct marketing actually comes into a play is touring. You want to tour with artists that are similar to your music and have fans similar to the fans that would like your music. And that's the thing. You sign with a major, they're gonna have to put you on tour, or they're gonna have to get you a advance, and they're not necessarily gonna put you on tour. They might just, if they give you if the label just gives you advance, then you got to get on your own tour. You got to build your own fan base, and that's what y'all still don't realize. So even if you sign with a major label and you got no fans, you still got to do the same work that an independent artist would do. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. If you sign with a major label and you bring no consumers to the table, you still have to do all the work that an independent artist would do. And the label is not going to do it for you. And it's not just because they don't want to. They can't. They don't got the ability to, labels can't just break artists. They don't got the influence to just break artists. Labels are going to have to go to influencers to break artists. The influencers have the influence to break artists. Fans break artists nowadays. Labels don't have no power to break artists. That's why labels typically want artists to break themselves. And independent artists typically don't have choices but to help the artists break themselves, because they're typically not signing major artists. Major artists are typically signing with majors, and the major independents that they sign, they've typically signed them when they weren't a major independent, and they helped build them up, and they all put in the work together. The artists didn't just sit back and what we call don't watch us work. The artists didn't sit back and watch nobody work, usually on independent labels. Usually independent artists are putting in a lot of the work themselves too. That's why it's called independence. You don't sign with an independent label and not have some kind of independence yourself. You know, you don't. Because most of the people that are signing with the majors are people who were independent and decided, well, I'm just going to go ahead and let them sign with a major label and let them amplify what I've already built. But if you sign with a major label and you brought no consumers, you can't amplify something that's nothing. You can't amplify something from nothing. You have to amplify something from something. Like if I turn on a radio, the sound has to already be on for me to amplify the sound. So you can't amplify something from nothing. You amplify something from something. You know. So yeah, that's the difference, man. Like when you sign with majors, you better be bringing consumers to the table. If not, what are you complaining for? If you sign it with an independent, you better have some mindset of independence, or what are you signing with an independent label for? You know, and it makes more sense to just stay independent if you can, like a Ryan Leslie, and just take the whole cake. Ryan Leslie could take 10,000 fans and make the same amount of money that a major label can off of 100,000 fans. Because he knows who his consumer base is. And he knows that's what it's solely about, his consumer base. And yes, he's probably still trying to build fans outside of his consumer base, but he solely makes music, I guarantee, for the consumer base he has. And you basically just let the consumer base you have share it to their friends and help bring in more fans. Typically, friends of friends like the same music. That's typically how it works. That's why fan bases and influencers have more power on breaking artists nowadays, because influencers got influence over people to just make them do things just because of influence, and friends follow other friends' leads. Or if a friend tells me like if there's some restaurant or something I ain't never know about it, I ask a friend about it. If a friend I trust says, yo, it's the bomb, I'm checking out, because I believe it's more likely going to be the bomb. Same thing with a movie I might not see. Yo, you check out this movie. Yo, it's hot. If he says it's hot, bam, check it out. He says it's not, and I'm not so enthusiastic about checking it out. So if like your friends is like, nah, so-and-so's music's not that hot, they're more likely not going to be running to go check out your music, because that's how music's broke nowadays. That's how things go viral. People share it, over, and they share it, and then somebody else shares it, and somebody else shares it, and somebody else shares it. That's how music's broke. But it ain't got nothing to do with the power of a major label or an independent label. Nothing to do, because they still got to go to influencers. They still got to go through playlisters. They still got to advertise. They still got to go to other third parties. They have no, that's the thing. Back in the days, major labels were just street team or radio. That's all you needed in distribution. A street team, radio, distribution, and then promotional items for the distribution. Nowadays, distribution has no value because anybody can distribute music. The 60,000 songs are being uploaded on Spotify every day. Distribution has no value. So just having promotional items doesn't work. You have to advertise. You got to get influencers. You need fans to reshare to other fans. You need people to have influence over other people in order for them to listen to your music. That's the way of the world nowadays. It ain't like radio where you could just play it over and over and over and over and over and over again. Because out of 60,000 songs with an oversaturation, it's not working that way. Once again, hit that click now, subscribe button in that right hand corner. Don't forget, this is Vlog 27, Indies versus Majors. I just want to break down the mindset of the majors versus the indies and what majors are looking for when they sign an artist and what the indies are looking for. And then your expectations are how an artist's expectations are so wrong when signing with a major and an independent. And also, if you're signing with an independent label and you're not patient and you're not willing to go through the process, then why are you signing with an independent label for? Because signing with an indie is going to be a longer process than signing with a major, because majors have more money, so they can speed up the process. The more money you got, you can speed up the process because you can pay more influencers, you can pay for more ads. But this is the thing: when you sign with a major and they give you an advance, they're not going to do that for you. So if you don't know how to do that, you just got your thumb up your ass then, because once again, you're an artist in a business that doesn't understand nothing about this business. Like, people don't get that there's two parts of this business. And if you only know the first part of the business, which is making music, then you know nothing about this business. I repeat, if you only know the first part of this business, making music, then you know nothing about this business. Because breaking music is where it's at. You can have the hottest song on the planet. You can sound like Second Coming Rakim, Nas, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Second Coming to the Baby, Little Baby. Without marketing promotions and a team behind you, it's not going anywhere. I did marketing promotions for the Baby's 21 record, and I can tell you, they put up a lot of time and money, put out a lot of content. And they were very strategic on how they did things. They did things that stood out. Things that the typical artist wouldn't think of, like going to South by Southwest wearing a diaper. They were willing to push the envelope. That's another thing. That's another reason why we're not in the talent business. Sometimes as an artist, you got to be willing to push the envelope. Tyler, the Creator, eating a cockroach off his arm. The rappers coming out with pink hairs and pink. Yeah, you gotta be willing to push the envelope to be a man to come out with pink hair. A straight man at that. A straight man to come out with pink hair, you gotta be willing to push the envelope. Like Cameron was when he started wearing pink and made it popular. I never wore pink as a man. I never will, because I'm not willing to push the envelope in that way. And that's another thing in this business. Like, excuse me. To some people, the weird stuff is entertaining. The push the envelope stuff is entertaining. The far out there stuff is entertaining. To a lot of people at South by Southwest, it was entertaining to see the Baby wearing a diaper. It's entertaining to see a grown man. It's funny. It's like, what the hell? Like, It, how can it not be entertaining, man? You see a grown man walk up in a diaper, like what the hell? What do you like? It's gonna get everybody's attention. I know that much, and that's part of things being entertaining, getting your attention. You know. So yeah, we're not in the talent business. We're in the entertainment business. Artists need to better manage their expectations when signing with a major and an independent, and you need to better manage your expectations when you're bringing nothing to the table. This idea that everybody should open the floodgates up for you when you've brought nothing to the table is fairy tale, imaginary, Snow White and the Three Dwarfs, make believe. It's Disney. That's what it is. It's not reality. It's not reality. You know, you bring nothing to the table. That's exactly what you deserve. So if you bring nothing to the table and you get 10% of the profits, as far as I'm concerned, you're getting charity. Charity. You've brought no consumers, no money, and no instant hit to the table. You're getting charity as an artist. You're a charity case. You know, you're not even an artist that can stand on his own 2 feet. You're not even a great artist. I don't care how good your music is. You're not great. You're not this mystical, magical, artistic guy. No, you're not even an adult. You're not even an adult as far as I'm concerned. If you haven't even invested money into yourself as an artist, you're not even an adult. You're just like a little kid that can't take care of his own responsibilities, because it's your responsibility to achieve your goals, your dreams in life. I'm not banking on anybody to achieve my goals and dreams for me. I'm not banking on that. I'm not counting on that. I'm not banking on that. I'm not relying on that. I'm not depending on that. That is a very weak mindset to have from the business standpoint of view. That is not self-employment when somebody has to put all the money behind you. That is, you're an employee. You work for them. That is not partnership. That is ownership. Yes, if they pay all your studio time and all your marketing promotions, yes, they should own your masters. What? What? No. If you ain't brought no consumers to the table or no money to the table, you haven't paid for your own studio time, your own marketing and promotions, none of it. No, you shouldn't own your masters. No, you shouldn't own the bigger percentage of profit. No, anything you get is a charity. That's how it works in the real world in business. So y'all need to stop applying these non-business ideologies and views to the music business. It's not American Idol, people. It's not a talent search. And guess what? In the 90s, when it was a talent search, they called it the golden age. It was a complete disaster. Stop it. It was not the golden age. More than 50% of the artists didn't even make it past 2 albums. That is not golden ages. That is not longevity. If we ain't talking about 5 albums in 10 years, what are we talking about here? We're not talking about longevity at all. We're not talking about greatness. We're talking about somebody who was hot momentarily for a short period of time. You being hot for a small period of time doesn't equivalent to greatness to me. Greatness comes from a longevity standpoint of view. LL Cool J was great. LL Cool J had a platinum record in 3 different decades. If you ain't even had 5 platinum records or successful records in a decade, you're not great. And this idea in the 90s was so great just because everybody could spit bars and punchlines. No, a lot of them were average compared to the rest. They were average or below average compared to the rest. A lot of them wasn't willing to push the envelope. They wasn't willing to make themselves stand out amongst other people. They were too caught up in this I'm making music for myself mentality. You know, a lot of them didn't stay in tune with their fans, didn't stay relevant. They didn't continue dropping music. A lot of them, once the major labels, they didn't have major label backing, They act like they're helpless. They don't know what to do because they didn't. Because you wasn't independent from the first place. You weren't standing on your own 2 feet. No, most of the artists in the 90s weren't standing on their own 2 feet. And when they left a major label situation, they could stand on their own 2 feet because you sit back and you let the major labels in the 90s do everything for you. But guess what? Nowadays, artists ain't doing that. Artists ain't sitting back and waiting for major labels no more, man. And that's why I don't care if it's an artist that I don't like his music. I got more respect for artists that I don't like his music than the guy that thinks he's super hot, super talented, thinks he shouldn't have to put a single dollar into invest in his music, that everybody should just promote his music just because he thinks it's hot and we should think it's hot just because. No, that is not reality. That's not reality, man. Just cuz. No, just cuz is not reality. Just cuz is just some made up mindset. Like, you should do this just cuz. You should do this just cuz. Everybody should follow my podcast just cuz. No, you should follow it if you enjoy it. Stop it. Once again, hit that click down, subscribe button, vlog 27. Majors versus indies. Just going through the mindset of an artist's expectations on a major and indies and what their expectations should be, and understand what the expectations of the label themselves. Because you and the label don't have the same expectations. I hope you know that. Your expectations are always going to be somewhat different. You know? Like this idea that an artist always, like, and musical freedom, like this idea that every artist should have musical freedom, like every artist knows how to make a hit record. No, stop it. Bogus, false, fairy tale magic. Every artist don't know how to make a hit record. Because if they did, they'd have them. Every artist would have a hit record. We got to stop it with this, man. That just because you make music, it's worth something. Just because you make music, it's art. Just because you make music, it's a talent. No. It's entertaining. That's it. And a lot of you ain't entertaining at all. And there's always going to be levels to the entertainment of who's greater and who's not greater, who's great, who's good, who's average, and who's below average. That's how it breaks down. Levels. Great, good, average, below average. All these other made up things are like made up pronouns, man. Stop it. Because y'all ain't even gonna like and y'all ain't even gonna like my pronouns when they start making it where everybody has to call everybody pronouns. Stop thinking the music business is what you should. The music business is not what you think it is or what you think it should be, and it never will be. Stop it. The music business is what it is, and it's gonna be that way. It's a business. It's no different than any other consumer business. It's no different. Just different products and different services. That's all it is. No different. So hit that subscribe button. Don't forget the audio version goes to Spotify, Apple, Deezer, Amazon, Slacker, TuneIn, iHeartRadio. You can also Google Paul Pickett Podcast for the audio version. The video version goes to my Facebook, Instagram. Hit the follows if you watch it on Facebook and Instagram. Also, don't forget to hit the website. Check out promopalace.biz. You see it right below me, live with promopalace.biz. Any online or marketing promotions for your music or your brand. And also check out newlitter.com. That's my New Litter apparel for all you dog lovers. We got t-shirts and hoodies with dogs on them. And we got ones with cats coming soon for you cat lovers, because cats got litters too. Also, don't forget to check out Dizzle Brand, dizzlebrand.com. It's the Dizzle Brand liquor. We got recipes on there on the website. You can follow the social media links. That way you can stay in tune and see when it comes to a store or a bar near you. And Dizzle Brand definitely started in the bars, and we're trying to get into the stores now. And shouts out to my Dizzle Brand fam, and that's dizzlebrand.com. Also, you can hit me up at promopalace1@gmail.com. That's promopalace, the number 1 at gmail.com, or paul@promopalace.biz. Once again, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. I know I didn't acknowledge my TikTokers watching live. Shouts out to my TikTokers that are watching live. I typically go live on my vlogs with TikTok and my podcast, and I pre-record for YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and whatnot. So everybody on my TikTok live, thank you. Hit that follow if you ain't following. If you enjoy this, I want to thank you for enjoying it. Stay tuned in 2, 3, 4 times a week. I go live on TikTok and I pre-record for my podcast and the Promo Palace LLC vlogs. Once again, I'm out. My name is Paul Pickett. Peace.